I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain.
If you only had a brain.
That pretty much is the short course of the whole episode.
This podcast is all spoilers, so don't complain to us if you're listening to us and you haven't finished it yet.
Yep, if you haven't finished the DLC and you want to find it out for yourself, just turn the iPod off now.
Yeah, or the iPad or the iPhone or what was that Microsoft thing?
No one else remembers. I can't.
Zune.
Yeah, there you go. For all three of you with a Zune, turn that off too.
Oh, your iTunes. Yeah, okay, so the story is essentially The Wizard of Oz. I mean, that was quite cute.
Yeah, well, it's you don't have a brain, you don't have your spine, you don't have your heart.
Yes.
Although it does come back that it does get revealed by the end that you can retrieve all of these things. Although it's up to you as to whether or not you want your spine and heart back.
Dr. Mobius's description of The Wizard of Oz cracked me up. He basically described the story as a bunch of murdering thugs wandering around trying to steal a heart, a brain, and a spine, only to discover they had them all along.
Yeah, well, that would be the evil version of it, I suppose. Yeah.
Dr. Mobius. I'm sure we'll work our way backwards, but what a great character.
Well, it's funny. You come across during the entire DLC, he's like this evil genius that you're out to get, and then you finally get to his lair. And it's bizarre. You have the ginormous scorpion to fight, which
is pretty easy to destroy.
Easy to destroy. I just stayed behind something and took pot shots at it, and that was that.
If you actually go out there, like at some point, I just wasn't hitting him for whatever clipping reason, so I went out there to fight him one-on-one, and his radiation weapon is pretty damn nasty.
He never even saw me. I just stood back and took pot shots, and that was the end of it.
But I figured this out afterwards, after I killed him. I read on those computer notes that the sonic pulse device disabled its thing.
Well.
So I used that. But you can actually go around to the other side of the room, and there's a computer there with an emergency shutter for the scorpion.
Oh.
And that will just destroy it outright. So it's actually the hardest computer to hack. I'm like 100% perfect with hacking, and that's one of the harder computers in New Vegas to hack. It actually reminded me of Fallout 3, where there were often computers that were hard to hack.
Yeah. So, but once you meet Mobius, you find out that instead of being an evil genius, he's like your senile grandpa.
Yeah, and he's actually the one who was in charge of the facility all along. And this was very interesting. It kind of asks the player to use their brain, which they don't have. You can certainly kill him. I did not. I talked him through the thing and realized that my suspicions were correct, that the reason they were there was because they were completely bereft of morals.
Yes.
And he'd actually sort of forgotten the reason why he'd done it, but he did mention something to do with morals. And that is certainly the case, that they were very willing to go back on their word to get out of the think tank, which again demonstrates a complete lack of morals. If they hadn't gone back on that deal, I may have let them out, but they proved themselves incapable of that. So,
now, how did you resolve things with Klein once you finished up with Mobius? What did you do?
I pretended to be Mobius.
Okay, that's what I did too.
And he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Which is amusing because then you get the whole big empty for yourself.
In the end slideshow, the big empty is basically you're running it.
The end slideshow. Oh my god! So these end slideshows in Fallout are always pretty annoying, to be honest. They're long and they tell you a pointless piece of future about how things turned out with the various things you interacted with. But in the big empty, it's every appliance, some of the buildings, all of the brains. It's just.
Well, what did you think of the toaster?
He got dumped in my version. He got dumped in the.
But I mean, just as a character, what did you think of the psychopathic toaster?
It was pretty good. He got a bit upset when I explained to him that the world already burnt.
Yeah, he was not pleased with the whole thing. And
all of the appliances were funny.
And the anti-communist book shredder thing was pretty funny too.
He was the most useless of them all.
Yeah, I was really hoping that you could do something with the book recipes. Did you figure out that if there's anything you can do with those?
No, even after upgrading him, all he could do was recycle pencils and paper clips and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I think that was kind of missing. The the fertilization machine was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
With all the seed jokes.
Yes.
And at the end, he wanted to be transferred over to the botanical station.
But it said it was busy because it basically was busy with Vault 22.
Yes, it was very amusing.
And did you notice, having played through the rest of it now, did you notice just how many Ulysses references there were?
Yeah, you're claiming they're Ulysses references with all of the flags everywhere.
Well, those are obviously him. I mean, that's what he does.
That's all he did was he visited the same places that you ended up visiting.
Right, but he put his logo on all of them.
Yeah, he put different colors on there.
Yeah. Now, did you also find his hideout?
Yeah. Well, it's not so much of a hideout.
Right, but his little camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cool stuff was actually at Elijah's camp.
Yeah, which was actually a place that was a little difficult to figure out. You're looking at your map and you're like, okay, where the hell is it? And then you got to realize it's on the roof of the building.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went in and out of that building a couple of times going, but I've already looked here.
Right, and you have to go around and then hop down to it.
Yeah, that was there was actually 2 advanced layers, Elijah layers. There's one in the Camp Yangtze Tower and one at his little lookout. And in the diary, he mentions on his 4th or 5th day that he saw the flash of somebody's scope checking him out. That is probably Christine.
Oh yeah, that's probably Christine, because Christine was trying to track him in the Big Empty. That's probably, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, and I think that's the 2.5 people they were talking about. The half was her.
Right. Forgot all about that.
Clever names with the characters. I didn't actually realize it until I started having that conversation with Mobius, the Mobius strip, the Klein bottle, the 0 and the 8. Not sure what Dala was meant to represent in terms of infinite loops.
Yeah, I'd have to Google that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned.
Did you have the conversation with Dala about and having her go all excited about you breathing?
That was hilarious.
Yes.
Weird. The being talked down to by these robots in different forms and manners was highly entertaining.
Oh yeah. They have nothing but disdain for you. It's kind of amusing.
Well, that another example of their morals going out the window, and Mobius was the only one who had any kind of sense out of all of them.
Right, which is amusing because supposedly he's the bad guy, but it turns out he's actually not quite so bad.
Well, he's definitely a drug addict. Need any Mentats, by the way?
Oh, good Lord. How many of those did you find in this DLC? I must have a stockpile of hundreds of them, yeah.
Yeah, I sold them for money. I mean, I was constantly getting a lot of money and spending it on things. Mm-hmm. Did you get any of the upgrades installed?
I installed 2 implants. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I installed 2 of them that I thought were pretty cool.
I ended up getting my Tesla cannon repaired, which was the 25,000.
Okay, I didn't get the Tesla cannon repaired, but at some point I had to spend 15,000 caps getting the stealth suit repaired.
Yeah, mine's broken, and I haven't fixed it yet. But this is really neat. That AI, Sync AI, can pretty much repair anything. It just costs a lot of money.
So if you've gone and gotten your 10 luck thing and bankrupted all the casinos, you're probably good to go. Although it turns out...
I still have plenty of levels I can go up, so I could just keep upping my luck. I'm only 2 off from 10, and I could go get all that money and come back.
Right, now you know what else you could do? You could also, depending on how many gold bars you brought back from the Sierra Madre, the Sync actually has enough caps that you could sell 1 or 2.
Yes, the Sync got very rich off me, that's for sure. And there's no way to steal it back, you know?
It's all virtual. It's like your bank account, basically.
Okay, how did you go through the Night Stalker versions of Basic and Advanced?
Yes, I did. Although I kind of cheated on some of those, on some of the ones with the high school one where you're supposed to find all the school records. One of those where you're supposed to not trip any of the things. What I did is I unlocked the door back out to the test observation area, went all the way around and just hopped down to the principal safe. Actually, that's not the high school one. Whichever one that is.
That's the stealth one.
Yeah, the stealth one. In the stealth room, I just cheated my way through that one.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Although actually doing all 3 or was 4 levels of testing.
The 4th one you can't actually cheat. You have to go deactivate the robots. Or I suppose you could wipe them out and then not have anybody do it.
If you had been doing it and you disabled the sensors, you can hack the sensors so they turn blue and they don't detect you. That saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, I know. But you know what I had difficulty with? Was spotting the sensors. It took me a while to realize where the heck they were.
I didn't have trouble spotting the sensors. They were pretty clear to me. But it's finding the detection mines, that was tricky.
That's the ones I meant. I don't mean the laser sensors. I mean the proximity ones.
Yeah, all you hear is the beeping, and you just got to back off and try and look around. You can't see them.
They're hard to spot. I had the devil's own time finding any of them. I think I only found 2 or 3.
I got them all, but only because I was being stubborn.
Okay, that's where I gave up and cheated my way around that whole thing.
That was an interesting course, much easier than the high school.
Yeah, now the Night Stalkers, they were nasty. There were a couple of points where I had to lay traps for them.
Yeah, as I was telling you last episode, they're just really tough.
Well, it's not so bad. Okay, so I have this character that's got, as an unarmed specialist. So I've got the Saturnine Fist, and I've given it the heat upgrade from the toaster, so it sets everything on fire. And that's a pretty good weapon. Against 1 or even 2 Night Stalkers, that's not bad. Against 3 or 4, you've got a world of hurt, because while you're busy pounding the crap out of one of them, the other 2 are taking your arm off.
I actually found my biggest issue was with the lobotomites with ranged weapons. So from a distance, further than I can actually see them unless I hit the zoom on my weapon, they'd just be peppering me, and I went through so many pieces of armor.
How they can hit you from that far away with a 45 caliber pistol when you can barely see them, see them with your anti-material rifle or your Gauss rifle, I have no clue.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. So that's what makes it particularly hard, and these guys are just everywhere. Now, I haven't been everywhere yet. I've been to quite a few places.
It turns out I took the Explorer perk as the last perk when I just upgraded just before the end of the game. And it turns out that I think I've only missed like 4 locations.
In the main world or in
the DLC?
Okay. I probably got more to do than that. I'm not quite sure. I've had this game with the giant robo scorpions does give you some pretty epic battles, and I spent a lot of time retreat shooting.
Yeah, well, the robo scorpions are really tough. Again, if you've got parties of like 4 or 5 of them, they just keep when you finally go into the end for Mobius, I think there must have been 6 or 8 of them at one point.
No, I tripped that bunch earlier by accident when I went to the water refinery.
Yes.
The aqua facility. Yeah. I ran into all of them then, and I dealt with them then.
Yeah, see, I didn't.
Here's something really neat. The Wild Wasteland perk.
Yeah.
There's chockers of stuff in this DLC for that.
Well, did you run across Stripe in the Higgs village?
Yes. Did you find the gnomes that were mining the red crystals?
No, I didn't.
That's up in the construction area. It's like, what?
Okay. I saw the wacky wasteland thing go off, but I didn't see the gnomes.
And the iBot in the aqua facility.
Yeah, I saw that. But I thought Stripe was the epic one, and I thought, oh, it's a little Deathclaw, and you don't think he's going to be that tough, but boy, that little bastard is hard.
He didn't actually give me too much trouble, but there were a lot of special characters in this DLC that I would have thought they would have had more story. Like when you go to the plant place, there's Patient Zero there. And I never read anything about him. He was just there and suddenly attacking me. Maybe there's a terminal somewhere that tells me more about him, but I don't understand, And 01100011110, that guy, in the Securitron deconstruction facility. Did you pick up on the whole House versus Big Empty and robots thing as well?
Yes. Oh yeah. Like I said in the last podcast, they hate House.
Yeah, well,
Sinclair.
no, it's more like Borealis.
They hate Sinclair. They hate Sinclair a lot, and they don't have much fondness for House either.
Yeah, Dr. Borealis doesn't like House because he's not very good at making robots, and House was.
Yes.
Now, I believe I've killed all of the unique. Actually, according to the wiki, there's a cyber dog called Roxy that I haven't run into yet.
I haven't run into that one either. No.
Where is that? In the XA facility. This might be the one. Oh yeah, this is the one that follows you that you found that I haven't yet.
Oh, Roxy. Yes. But she died.
Well, hopefully mine won't. Now that I've cleared out the most.
She died before I even got out of the stupid facility.
They've tied a lot of the lore of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas back to the Big Empty, like the Night Stalkers, the Cazadors, the explosive collars. Did you find the broken explosive collars thing?
Yeah, and they explained the backstory on a lot of that stuff.
It's obviously the auto docks and the holograms at the Sierra Madre were created by a different company. They were not Big Empty material.
Right.
But the Autodocs were, and Sierra Madre had the prototype Autodocs, which was interesting.
Yeah, I think all in all, I liked Honest Hearts. I wasn't that happy with Dead Money. This thing, though, I really, really like this. In terms of DLC, I think this is the best DLC since Point Lookout.
Yeah, and there's just a lot there, even though it is actually short. And all these DLCs have been short.
If you play through the main plot only, yeah, it's very short. But, there's so many other things you can do that I don't know, I found them very enjoyable.
Yeah, I haven't finished yet. I think I've still got more to go. Maybe we can talk about some of the other side stuff in another episode.
Yeah.
By the way, the voice actor I was talking about is actually Rusty Venture from the Venture Brothers. He plays Zero, I think, or is it Boreals?
I thought it was Zero, you said.
One of the two. Those announcements when you're wandering around about
yes.
From the.
If anybody can hear if anybody can understand the words I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, you do not belong here.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny stuff in here.
It's a lot of voice acting, good content. It just surprised me.
Yeah, the last, like I said, Honest Hearts was okay, and Dead Money was kind of a letdown, but this was really good.
I agree.
So, I think with that, we've said enough until we want to go through some of the side quests in another episode. I probably have to wrap this up. I've got a bunch of things coming my way right now.
Fair enough. Well, until then, we'll come back to this and we'll finish this DLC up in our third episode. And then there's just one DLC left until we all have to sit around. Well, I guess we'll have Skyrim.
Yeah, we'll have Skyrim, and we'll probably do a podcast series on that. And after the next episode, not the next episode, after we finally finish with the Ulysses, the Divide or whatever they're going to call that one.
You know what? I still don't give a fig about this guy. I don't know.
I don't know why I should care.
Yeah, neither do I.
They built him up like the second coming of something, but
yeah, he's been everywhere I've been. He managed to not get killed, shot in the head like I was. Who cares?
There's a whole bunch of lead up here, and they better explain why, because they've been trying to build something up that so far just isn't cutting it.
Yep, I agree. The other thing that I read somewhere was all these DLCs are made by different groups.
Oh, so that's why they're not connected.
Well, you can sort of tell too. Like the Sierra Madre stuff was all pushing the renderer well beyond what it could do.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, some of the puzzle things were hard to do with the physics engine.
And this DLC, these guys clearly had the actor budget.
Yes.
Because they had all the great voice acting. It really is quite evident.
Yeah.
And if you ask Sally, the second DLC was racist.
I think that's enough to say about that crew. I still stand by what I said in the iTunes review. She subtracts stars from that podcast every time she opens her mouth.
I won't be going back to that DLC, and I definitely won't be going back to the Sierra Madre. But the Big Empty, I'll be coming back from time to time to get things repaired.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and if you ever want money or cigarettes, if you feel the need to feed the cigarette habit of New Vegas,
or if you ever need a fission battery or spare parts of any kind, electronics or scrap metal,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Scrap metal, God, yeah. If there's some, are there any characters in New Vegas that want scrap metal? I
think that's all in Fallout 3.
In Fallout 3, they wanted it. Yeah.
So if you could teleport between, maybe.
Anyway.
Yep.
On that note, that's it.
Got feedback? Send it to jarober@gmail.com or visit the website at jarober.com/blog/fnv.ssp.